Hey guys, my name is Sarah and welcome to my channel that focuses on cheap and little to zero waste meal ideas for you and your family. If that sounds like something you want to see more of, be sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss out on any of my future uploads. And let's get into the video. To start, I'm going to make a chicken marsala in the slow cooker. I have had this Marsala cooking wine or whatever you call it, I don't remember, in my pantry forever, and I figured it was time to use it up. But you're gonna need minced garlic, pepper, salt, oil, heavy whipping cream, chicken breasts, mushrooms, and oregano and thyme. To get started, I'm just going to cut the fat off of a couple of chicken breasts and then cut them in half because they are really thick, and I always do that because if you just cook one, I feel like it gets drier when they're, a lot thicker, or at least not beat out some too, and it's just a lot of chicken. This would stretch just these two chicken breasts over my entire family because my daughters will split one of them. But once you do that, you're going to top your chicken with oregano, the thyme, salt, and pepper, and you're going to do this on each side. And now to a skillet over my medium heat. I have some olive oil in there and I'm going to just sear each side. You are not looking to cook them all the way because, like I said, this is a slow cooker recipe. You are just trying to seal in that moisture, and it helps with the flavor of the chicken. And once I have my chicken seared, I'm going to put them all into my slow cooker. Top that with the Marsala cooking wine, your rinsed off mushrooms, and then you're gonna cover this and cook it on low for 6 to 8 hours. I will have the actual recipe down in the description box below for exact measurements because I don't remember some of them, but I know it's a cup of that cooking wine. Oh, and you also are going to put some minced garlic, I forgot about that, into the slow cooker as well. Once your chicken is done cooking, you're going to remove it from your slow cooker. Just carefully do so because if it's cooked all the way, it is going to want to fall apart, and you don't have to take all the mushrooms and put them back in. I don't know. I was just being extra, I guess. Anyways, once you get all of the chicken out of your slow cooker, you're going to put in your cornstarch slurry, which is just equal parts cold water and cornstarch mixed together. And then you're going to put in your heavy whipping cream, which I doubled. I think the recipe called for 1/4 cup, and I used 1/2 cup, and I am glad I did. But now you're going to stir it up a little bit, put the lid back on, and cook it for about another 20 to 30 minutes until it is completely thickened, and then you're going to put your chicken back into it. I don't really know why it said to do that. It's like to warm it back up, but anyway, I just did it. And then I just served this over rice, which you could do egg noodles, any kind of pasta really. As you can see here, it is so nicely thickened up. This was really good. I'm not a huge mushroom fan, so I save the actual mushrooms for my husband because he is I think he's the only one in here that really likes the mushrooms, but everyone else liked the rest of it. I would definitely recommend making this in the slow cooker. Made it a whole lot easier. I know making it on the stove is really good too. I haven't personally done it, but it always looks good. So, but like I said, you can put this over rice, pasta noodles, egg noodles, whatever you want. Now I'm going to just be making a vegetable soup in my slow cooker. I pulled some ground beef out of the freezer. I had these diced tomatoes. So it's kind of more like an Italian beef soup or whatever. And I have had this in my fridge, trying to use that up too. And here was the Italian tomato paste. I figured, Italian, whatever. I had some frozen corn that was open. I wanted to use up half of an onion that I had in the fridge. This bag of baby carrots that was on their last leg, and then also, as you saw, 3 russet potatoes, and then I had some celery in there too, which I'm terrible at letting go to waste, so I'm really trying to work on that. So anyways, all of my veggies, I am just chopping them up currently in my little chopper thing that I use when, like pot pies or soups or stews, and I'm like really wanting to make sure everything's about the same size, and it just is so much quicker. So once I got everything chopped up in there, I will be browning up the ground beef with the onion, and then I will show you the rest. Okay, so I have had these cans in my pantry of tomato juice, the Campbell's, for a while now. I think I bought a 6-pack. I feel like it was for a vegetable soup recipe or something, maybe some kind of stew. I don't know. It was a while back. It's probably on my channel, very deep in there somewhere. Anyway, so I decided to combine that with the beef broth for the juice to give it just a little bit more of a tomatoey flavor, and honestly just to use them up because I'm tired of looking at them. But anyway, as you can see here, my son is pouring them in for me. And then we are going to pour in the can of, I wish we could hear right now everything he's saying, honestly. I can just see that mouth going. He talks nonstop. Okay, so anyways, I'm going to put in a little bit of tomato paste. I haven't measured anything, as you can see. I will do my best in the comments down below to have measurements, or at least what I'm using. You can kind of play around with this. You can't really mess it up, I feel like, seasonings and vegetable soup, except for if you don't put enough, so be careful there. Anyway, and here is the can of like Italian diced tomatoes that we're putting in there. I've had this bag of frozen corn that honestly had a little bit of freezer burn on it in the freezer for a while. I wanted to use that up, and here is the water I'm using for the beef broth, and I'm not going to show you me putting all that in because that stuff sticks to, as you can see, I think put 3 tablespoons or so of it. And I'm using some Uncle Chris's steak seasoning, onion powder, garlic powder, Italian seasoning, and parsley. And like I said down below, I will try to get the measurements as best as possible. Forgot about his little noggin being in front of the camera right there, so forgive that. And then I'm going to be pouring in my cooked ground beef and onions, and I covered it and cooked it on low for, it's like 8 to 10 hours. Oh, salt and pepper too. Cannot forget salt and pepper. I know it looks like I'm purposefully stirring this really slow, but my husband had walked in and I was trying to show him how good it looked because he was honestly not too thrilled with vegetable soup. But I really wanted to use the stuff up. I mean, who doesn't love vegetable soup? Anyways, once it is done, I have poured in a can of green beans, and then this ditalini pasta, and that was like almost, I think I did like 3/4 cup, but then my husband convinced me to put in more, so more like 1.33 cups, and it really was the perfect amount. I was just really concerned that it was going to soak up too much of that liquid, and it did not. So once you have all that in there, you're going to cover it and cook it for about 30 more minutes. Just keep your eye on the noodles. I mean, obviously the green beans will be all ready. And this is how I test soup to see if I need to put more seasoning in it, because clearly it's going to be so hot. I'll just let it sit for a minute in a little ramekin and then taste it. And I didn't add anything else to it, no salt, nothing. This was so good. I served it with some cornbread, and we enjoyed this one for lunch the next day too. Now I'm going to be making a chicken and stuffing in the crock pot. And as you see, again, the celery, I'm trying to use that up. This is a whole onion, but I'm going to actually use half. You need a can of cream of chicken, 8 ounces of sour cream, any kind of stuffing mix that you prefer. And I'm going to throw in the Trader Joe's, a couple of seasonings that I have. I thought it might be good with it, salt, pepper, and 2 chicken breasts that are actually frozen. So to a bowl, you're going to mix everything together except for the seasonings and the chicken. And a little tip, something I always do if I am only using half of a recipe or half of an ingredient like this, and I'm going to have to put it back in the fridge, but all of another, I always use my spoon and the one that I'm putting back in the fridge first and then using it on this can. This might be kind of obvious to some people, but hey, little kitchen tips are nice. Back when I first started cooking, I probably would have never even thought about that. But then you're going to mix everything together, put your chicken in the slow cooker. This would have been much easier if they were not frozen, but I just sprinkled each one of those seasonings onto the chicken, poured, it was a struggle, as you can see, trying to pour that stuffing mix over the frozen chicken, but I poured it on top and cooked it on low for 6 hours, 6 to 7. I think it was 6. And then you'll see I'm going to shred it. I haven't done it that way before. I don't know, just the way it came out. I was talking to my husband. I was like, maybe I should just shred it this time, because his wants are very influential in this dish, because it is not for me. I do not like this. I make it for him because it is one of his favorites, and the rest of my family likes it too. But anyway, once it is done, I just shredded the chicken up, and you will see what that looks like. And I happen to have a can of extra cranberry sauce in the pantry too. That's the one thing he always wants with this as well. So I got that ready, and this was dinner. Thank y'all so much for watching, and I will see y'all in the next one.